Welcome to the Unwashed Asses, episode 79, recorded for Thursday, February 7th, 2019. Got the date right this time because watch hand wasn't at a quarter past, which is nice. Oh, I'm so hungry. Really, really hungry. I forgot to eat lunch. Too busy watching, Mr. Plinkett's reviews from Red Letter Media while building a chair and doing other things. Starving. Should wait till fuck it. I'll eat something. Stop off and get a snack after picking up the boy. Alright, trick here is not flying off the off-ramp because of this ice. You never know when black ice strikes. Or you know it's too late. It's too late. Sorry, trying to focus on merging here. Merge, 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 get over, you fucking Impala. Anywho, we're not here to talk about driving and traffic. We're not a, morning shock jock radio show with traffic on the 4s and weather on the 8s. No, we're a one-man podcast, wielding the might of ambition, enthusiasm, heartbreak, tragedy, sadness, jovial laughs. Mostly I just talk about video games. Alright, seriously, you're doing 55. We have to get up to speed here. You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. And we have to do the thing where we look at the driver. Alright, little old lady. That's taken care of. Now we've gotten around the old lady. Perfect. Oh, alright, what are we talking about? We are talking about Anthem. For those not in the know or those that don't care, I'll tell you anyways, Anthem is, I wouldn't say super hot, but definitely on the radar of a lot of folks. Game coming out here at the end of February, 22nd to be exact. Developed by BioWare and published by EA. Now, EA has been point of contention for a lot of gamers as of late, mostly for shitty loot box practices and their overall piss-poor handling of Mass Effect series and Star Wars franchise, which they hold exclusive rights to. Now, let's see, I'm going to speed up here, get around this semi. BioWare similarly suffered criticism because of Mass Effect Andromeda. Didn't meet expectations, was full of bugs, and didn't really receive any DLC, and was kind of a piss-poor follow-up to the Mass Effect trilogy. Now, there are a lot of apologists and defenders out there. I personally can't offer much of an opinion, otherwise, aside from, multiple reviews that I have read. Because I didn't play it. And that wouldn't be fair. So, I've not really played a BioWare game since Mass Effect 3. I've pretty much skipped all the Dragon Ages except for the first one, which I liked, but 2 and 3 didn't really seem to meet what I was after. And after EA had shut down, Visceral Studios, and gotten rid of the Dead Space franchise after running it into the ground with trying to chase the trends and play to the audience and markets of people that weren't buying Dead Space in the first place, I'm hesitant. I don't hold... Sorry, gotta turn on the rear wiper there. It's getting hard to see. I don't hold high expectations for anything either developer or publisher put out. But the Discord is abuzz with talk of Anthem, mostly from folks that play Destiny. Now, Anthem is a game that has been drawing a lot of comparisons to my favorite franchise for reasons I don't fully understand. Destiny is a first-person shooter. Anthem's third-person. Both are based in the future, I guess. Destiny is I guess they're both being advertised as looter shooters. Destiny has you focusing on 3 subclasses where you have superpowers. Anthem has you with 4 different robot suits. Anthem doesn't seem to have a super compelling story based on the demo. Destiny has a super compelling story that's told very poorly. I don't know. It seems, from what I played of it, it reminded me a lot of Lost Planet 2. I've been seeing a lot of comparisons to Warframe. I couldn't make heads or tails of Warframe, so I can't really make that comparison. But it doesn't feel like Destiny. Not at all. So I don't know why it keeps getting that comparison. And especially when people like Jim Sterling keep making that accusation or comparison, it feels phoned in, and like the I don't know, the people doing the reviews or previews are kind of out of touch. So it's getting criticism, it's getting flack, it's getting judged very harshly out the gate. I mean, the game's not even out. Partly because how it was presented. We had 2 beta weekends. The first was VIP access, where if you had pre-ordered the game, you get access to 1 weekend of content, or if you're like some people, your video card provider gave them access. I don't know. I didn't pre-order. My thoughts on pre-ordering is that you shouldn't. There's no issue of supply and demand. It's just all artificial, since most games are digital nowadays. The only real incentive to pre-order are pre-order bonuses, which get quickly forgotten after a month. So, I had received an invite to the VIP demo, but was unable to get in because EA servers were having a fucking conniption fit. Aside from people unable to redeem the token to get into the demo, the servers just weren't up and running. Apparently demand was much higher than had been anticipated. So it was plagued with all kinds of issues, from people just not being able to log in and play the game, to people once into the game suffering from shit fucking frame rates and poor playability and other, just a bevy of issues. Which sucks. But it's okay. It's the first weekend. It's more of a stress test than anything else, and kind of sets expectations as far as, alright, well, here's what we kind of need to have in place as far as server tech is concerned. Weekend 2 rolled around the next weekend. This one was open to everybody. So I got in. I downloaded the game again. I deleted it several times in an attempt to get in on VIP weekend. But with this one being open to everybody, and BioWare having their servers in check, maybe it's EA, I don't know, gets fuddled and messy there. Was able to get in, and I'm conflicted. Like I said, the Discord is super hot about it. They like it, almost to an apologist level, like making not necessarily unbiased claims as to why it will be good, but I don't know, pulling real hard for a game that has yet to really prove itself, at least in my opinion. The game is kind of bland, I guess. I want to like it. I do. Because it is fun to play when it's working. And when I say when it's working is when you're in the midst of combat. The premise with Anthem is that it's a futuristic open world game where, you fly around and you have missions that you can do. You have, quote unquote strikes and raids and open world content, but the way in which it's presented is very disjointed and messy. The UI alone is just a clusterfuck. It's a mess. It's hard to navigate, not only from knowing where things are, having a good idea on how to find what you're after, but navigation with keyboard and mouse is terrible. It was clearly designed around a controller, which I played with, but still, finding what I was after, like changing settings, changing gear loadouts, it's not intuitive. It needs a lot of cleaning up. Case in point, when you go to set a mission, god damn, this road is bumpy. Yes, I'm getting the boy. Sorry. So you go to set the mission. You go to the map, you pick your mission, and I thought, okay, well, I'll pick the mission and it'll launch. No. You pick the mission, then you have to go back to your original menu, select modifiers like difficulty, and then wait for everybody to get ready. Meanwhile, the game will repeatedly unready a person if any changes are made, or just if it feels like it. Could be a bug. Again, beta. And then once everybody's ready, you can go ahead and click the launch button, at which point it will go ahead and launch you into the game. Messy. Additionally, you can't change your loadout in a mission. You have to have all that configured beforehand. So this is not only what weapons you're using, what perks you're using, and your support abilities, everything. It has to be decided before you go into the mission, which is just dumb. It's really, really dumb. It's hard to adapt and improvise. It's hard to come up with an effective strategy. Like, shit, this isn't working. Let me switch over to this. And in cases with how some of the AI works and how the enemies attack, a lot of the missions that were available in the beta would have been like, all right, this would have been a fuckload easier had I picked maybe a few more support abilities or a sniper rifle where I can be more effective at a distance. Instead, I went with what was available to me and didn't necessarily suit my play style. Now, that being said, there is a lot of customization and variety available to you where, you can outfit your suit of armor, called a javelin, to your liking. There's 4 different subclasses, each performing differently with not only different abilities, but different speeds and whatnot, which helps. But again, the only way you can really experiment with something is to set up your javelin, go play in free roam, and hope that it gives you a good sense of what's going on. But even then, it's kind of hard to do because kind of like Monster Hunter Lite, I guess, most missions and the dungeon that was available in the beta have you killing gigantic bullet sponge monsters, and what's available in free roam is none of that. It's either A, nothing at all, or B, you hope a stronghold or something pops up, which is essentially like kill a bunch of super weak guys or blow this stuff up. It doesn't give you a good way to kind of set things. So it's frustrating in that regard. Sorry, I got distracted by an asshole just giving me the evil fucking eye. Anywho. Oh, that's frustrating. It's not intuitive when it comes to setting up loadouts and things like that. So, beyond that, it's kind of clunky. Keyboard and mouse controls, especially when it comes to flying or going underwater, are just abysmal. You use your mouse to kind of angle yourself, and supposedly there were adjustments that could be made in the menu, but you shouldn't have to. It should be far more intuitive and easy to grasp for people right out the gate. Beyond that, BioWare has said, oh yeah, we are making tweaks for final launch to make flying more intuitive and easier to do, which is all well and good, but I found it played extremely well on with a controller, so I think I'm just going to stick with that. But things like going from ground to flight, it's jarring because your character will do, like, you click in the left stick on a controller and your character will go into a sprint mode. If you jump and click in the stick, they'll go into a flight mode. But the game does this like initial boost and surge where your character will dash forward and hit the boosters, and it's just an awkward transition instead of like, going into a hover mode and then easing or gracefully transitioning into flight. It's disjointing. And the same thing comes to the flight controls, where you're not able to make like tight turns or precision movements. It's all wide sweeping, which is fine when you're going from point A to point B, but when you're in a tight cavern and you're in the middle of combat, or there's a lot of obstacles in the way, which there are, that's just how the map and terrain is designed, it's difficult to fly around that. What I found worked best was completely killing the flight mode and then moving my character, mid-fall, and then redirecting, turning flight mode back on. It's easy enough to do with practice, but it shouldn't be that difficult. There should be like a brake or a hover mode where you hit a button and your character kind of stops and allows you to reposition without exiting flight entirely. On top of that, flight isn't fast at all. It certainly doesn't feel that way in the open world. Based on the gameplay trailers and videos that I had seen prior to playing it, it looked a lot faster, and it's not. It's very slow. It's fine when you're inside, but when you got to get from point A to point B on the open world, and there's a lot of this, at least what we saw in the demo, it's very slow. It's not enjoyable, and your jets will actually overheat. You can fly near water and it will passively cool them, but even then, it was a lot of stopping and landing, waiting for the suit to cool down, jumping back up, and then flying back over. It's not seamless. It's not good. Combat is confusing because there's a lot of enemies that are very bland and blend into the background. Now it can range from wild creatures to other javelins or just generic enemy soldiers. But most of them are kind of immune to stuns and knockback effects and ignore whatever damage you throw at them. Anything bigger than a standard person is a bullet sponge. Now, because I wasn't a part of the VIP, folks that didn't pre-order only had access to 2 javelins. The Ranger, which was a starter, and then you could pick one of the other ones, the Colossus, the Stormcaller, or the Interceptor. I decided to go with Interceptor, and that one's based heavily on melee, which was great for clearing out ads, but when it came to fighting anything larger than just a person, was kind of rough going. Primarily when dealing with bosses, because of the fact that they don't care that you're hitting them and they can one-shot you. And being, a pretty heavy melee-focused class, it opens you up to a lot of risky play. Unless you want to sit back and take pot shots with your guns, which hardly feel like they deal any damage whatsoever. It could be that we couldn't equip anything of a, epic quality or legendary quality or better, because this one uses the color-coded system like other games. Guns felt weak and kind of ineffective, where most people would work primarily on just using abilities. So if you're going to have a game focused not only on abilities, but guns, kind of like Destiny, you might want to make the guns not only memorable, but make them worthwhile to use. So outside of combat and flying around, the game is gorgeous. Visually, it is stunning, but again, it's kind of nondescript, where we have this post-apocalyptic civilization that's using previous generations' tech, and there's this weird pseudo-futuristic tribal element to everything. It looks a lot like Horizon Zero Dawn, or like I said, Lost Planet, Warframe. It's just kind of nondescript. There's nothing unique that stands out. And when everybody's coloring their javelin armor like Iron Man, it's kind of like, meh. This is what it is. It's just, there's nothing that stands out, and that's frustrating. It's like, if you want to make this game something, make it unique at least. Beyond that, everything kind of outside the missions takes place in this city that's kind of similar to the tower in Destiny. It looks like it's going to act as a hub, but a lot of stuff wasn't available in the demo. And beyond that, your character moves like a sloth going through molasses. It's very slow and painful and bad. And you can't see other players. There's no way to interact with them. When everybody goes back to the tower, they go to their own instance of it. So it'd be cool to see other people and interact with them, and maybe see their javelins up on the platform with yours when you form a party. But currently, there's I don't know if it's going to make it in final release, and that's the thing. BioWare has been making a lot of developer statements like, "Oh yeah, this will be in the game. We're changing this. We're changing that." That's all well and good, but in terms of me planning to buy it, I'm probably going to hold off. I'm going to wait and see how, friends and reviews shape it, and, what features do we have, because I'm all for, that's the other thing, there is no PvP in this game. It's all PvE. I'm all for a more relaxed gaming experience compared to Destiny, which is definitely catering to their hardcore audience. And very grindy and very time consuming. I'm looking for something, easier, lighter, a refresher, if you will. When I want to, kind of cool off from my in-depth Destiny sessions. And this could fill it, but is it worth $60? I don't know. That's the other thing, is BioWare said there's going to be no season passes or paid DLC. Any money they make is going to come from microtransactions, and those are all going to be purely cosmetic customizations for your javelins. And I don't know. I don't like the way the javelins are designed. I think they're kind of ugly. Granted, we didn't have much in the way of customization in the game, but even looking at the pre-order bonus suits of armor, it's not great designs. It's not engaging, at least to me. Now, some people argue, say, "Oh, yeah, I love it." It's fine. Can't please everybody. But no, I'm tentatively excited. I'm hopeful. I want it to be good. I want to have something that I can play with friends, but I don't want to get burned again. I just don't. So I'm interested to see what you guys think, what your thoughts are about it. If you played it, if you've been following it, drop the show an email, theunwashedasses@gmail.com. Again, theunwashedasses@gmail.com. And let me know what you think. But otherwise, like always, for this year, if you want to, support the show, tell a friend. Let them know they can get this goodness wherever podcasts are grown. And of course, if you want to go above and beyond, you can always pitch in $1 or $2 over at patreon.com/0and09, ZEROAND09.com. I need food. I'm so hungry. But until then, we will see you next time.